Hello everybody and welcome to Notorious Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm Notorious Cly. The Horus cards are coming to Master Duel. Here's what you need to know. It's not often we start with a spell card, but this one is central to the Horus strategy. So let's begin with King Sarcophagus. It is a continuous spell that protects your Horus monsters from being destroyed by non-targeting card effects. Can send one card from your hand to the graveyard, and then send one Horus monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can use this effect up to 4 times per turn. Also, once per turn, you can send a monster that your Horus monster battles to the graveyard. In spite of the strategy's namesake, King Sark is the focal point of Horus. King Sark gives you the ability to load your graveyard, and thus your field, with Horus monsters, that you can then use to beat down your opponent or convert into extra deck material. The cost of loading your graveyard with Horus monsters is a bit steep, but is commonly mitigated by pairing Horus with other strategies that plus if their cards find a way into the graveyard. Do keep in mind that King Sark sends the card from your hand to the graveyard as cost. This means things like tier effects will not trigger if they are pitched via King Sark. The number of King Sark you will want to play will vary based on your desire to play it as the core strategy of your deck or as a supporting engine. If the Horus cards are the focal point, you will want 3 copies. If it is in a supporting role, you'll probably want 1, maybe 2. Moving on to the Horus monsters. As a courtesy to myself and to all of you, I'm going to cover the summoning condition of all the Horus monsters, excluding Horus the Black Flame Deity, once. This way I don't have to repeat myself every time we introduce a new monster. All of the Horus monsters, except for Horus the Black Flame Deity, can summon themselves from the graveyard, provided you control King Sarcophagus. The effect to do so is, as Konami likes to say, built in. This means the effect to summon does not activate. While we're here procrastinating for a moment, I also want to mention, as long as King Sark is in play, each of the Horus monsters not named Horus the Black Flame Deity present half of a rank 8 XEs or 8 levels of non-tuner synchro material. That is the main reason why some duelists elect to use Horus as a supporting engine. Free recursive bodies, big levels, big stats, and decent utility if you elect not to use them as extra deck summoning material. Now let us properly move on to covering the Horus monsters. Imseti, Glory of Horus, is a level 8 Dark Spellcaster that can send itself and another card from your hand to the graveyard to search King Sarcophagus, then draw 1 card. Also, you can send 1 card on the field to the graveyard if another card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect. Konami really outdid themselves with Imseti, a searcher for the strategy central card that goes +1 and punishes your opponent for trying to remove other cards you control. On top of that, Imseti on its own is half of a rank 8 XEs, or an easy stepping stone into a high level synchro. Because remember, Imseti grabs King Sarcophagus, meaning it can instantly summon itself back out. To no one's surprise, this card is played at 3 copies regardless of how you're using the Horus engine. Happy, Guidance of Horus, is a level 8 Wind Beast Warrior that can either add to your hand or shuffle into the deck exactly 2 cards that are banished or in your graveyard, provided another card you controlled left the field by an opponent's card effect. Happy is played as a one-of in both dedicated Horus decks and decks where Horus is in a supporting role. The main advantage of playing Happy is its ability to work answered engine pieces back into rotation. Happy is only played as a one-of due to its inability to accomplish anything meaningful on its own. The main advantage, again, of playing Happy is the ability to work your answered engine pieces back into rotation. Remember, without King Sarcophagus, none of the Horus monsters really do all that much. Dwalmutef, Blessing of Horus, is a level 8 Water Beast that gains 1,200 attack and defense for each Horus monster you control, and can draw cards equal to the number of monsters with different names in your main monster zones, provided another card you control left the field by an opponent's card effect. Dwalmutef sees play as a 1/of in dedicated Horus decks. In decks using Horus as a supporting engine, it commonly does not see play due to its inability to accomplish anything on its own. Very infrequently, Horus engine enjoyers will elect to play Dwalmutef as a 1/of because it represents such a big swing and card advantage. Quebese-Nef, Protection of Horus, is a level 8 Earth Winged Beast. Yes, I did have to watch how to pronounce Quebese-Nef like 7 times before I recorded this video. For my own sanity, for the rest of this video, we're going to refer to this card as Protection. Protection can protect your Horus cards from becoming attack targets and from being targeted by card effects, provided a card you controlled left the field by an opponent's card effect. Protection sees play as a 1/of in dedicated Horus decks. Its primary purpose is to be an additional name that you can load the grave and spam the field with. The Protection effect is lackluster, since it will only take effect after your opponent has already started removing cards from your field. Protection, much like Dwalmutef, does not see play in decks that use Horus as a supporting engine. Horus, the Black Flame Deity, is a level 8 Fire Dragon that can summon itself from the hand, then send all other monsters on the field to the graveyard, provided another Horus monster or face-up King Sarcophagus left the field by an opponent's card effect. Also, you can reveal Horus in your hand, send a card from your hand or field to the graveyard, to send any other card on the field to the graveyard. You will need to control a Horus monster and King Sarcophagus to use this effect. Despite carrying the strategy's namesake, Horus sees almost no play. Decks using Horus as a supporting engine do not play Horus at all. Also, the only deck list, that's right, a singular deck list I found playing Horus, the Black Flame Deity, played exactly 1 copy of it. Walls of the Imperial Tomb is a field spell that is treated as King Sarcophagus while in the field zone, and once per turn during your main phase, you can search 1 Horus monster, then put a card from your hand to the bottom of the deck. And if you activate the effect of Horus the Black Flame Deity, you can draw 1 card. Tomb is a welcome addition for dedicated Horus decks, functionally giving them additional copies of King Sark and Imseti. Due to the strategy's reliance on those 2 cards, Tomb is played at 3 copies in dedicated Horus decks. Tomb typically does not see play in decks that use Horus as a supporting engine though. Decks that use Horus as a supporting engine are not reliant on seeing King Sarcophagus or Imseti to play. They view access to the Horus engine as a bonus rather than a necessity. Canopic Protector is a continuous trap card that allows you to special summon a Horus monster from your hand or graveyard once per chain, provided your opponent has a pulse and is playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Also, if Canopic Protector is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can set it to your field. Canopic is another card that only sees play in dedicated Horus decks. The ability to unbrick your hand if you don't find access to Imseti, Goldsark, or Tomb is the primary reason for its inclusion. I was going to say a little bit more about Canopic, but it seems silly to spend any more time talking about a card that only really sees play in the stun variants of dedicated Horus decks. Now that we've introduced all of the cards, let's talk about how to use them. Your basic Horus engine combo looks like this. Open Imseti. Imseti, send itself and another card from your hand. Add King Sark, draw a card. Activate King Sark. King Sark effect, send a card from hand to the graveyard. Send a Horus name from deck to grave. Bring back Imseti and the other binned Horus name. Overlay for Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord to insulate the rest of your plays. Or overlay for Zombie Vampire to get it twisted. Or, if you're going second, overlay for any one of the rank 8 Xyz monsters that can help you crack a board. Or, you can also keep your Horus monsters on the field and attempt to squeeze value out of their effects or use them to beat down your opponent. You'll rinse and repeat until you are out of cards in your hand to send for King Sark, or you have reached the 4 times per turn limit. I think we've done a good job at covering the new cards and how to use them. Now let's answer some questions you may have. How many of each card should I aim to pull? If you want to use Horus as a supporting engine, you will want 3 Imseti, 1 Happy, 0 or 1 Dwalmutef, and 1 to 2 King Sarcophagus. If you want to build a deck where the primary focus is the Horus cards, you will want 3 Imseti, 1 Happy, 1 Dwalmutef, 1 Protection, 0 to 1 Horus the Black Flame Deity, 3 King Sarcophagus, 3 Walls of the Imperial Tomb, and 0 or 3 Canopic Protector. What other deck, archetype, or engine can I pair Horus with? You can pair Horus with literally anything. I'm being serious. The Horus cards are responsible for some of the wildest deck names on YGOProDeck.com. We have Horus Bestial Resonator Dragonlink, Horus Snake Eye Diabell Star Fire King Volcanic FTK, Horus Adventure Sprite Tri-Brigade. Those were just a handful of the more creative Horus pairings. A few more tame examples of strategies paired with Horus are Horus Destiny Tier Elements, Horus Orcus, Horus Branded Chimera. The best decks, engines, archetypes, or strategies to pair with Horus are the ones that have 5 to 6 free main deck slots, 1 to 3 extra deck slots, and have a significant number of cards that gain value if they find themselves in the graveyard. Let your imagination run wild. Some of those Horus mashups sounded cool. Do you have any deck lists? I sure do. These are all courtesy of YGOProDeck.com. Please keep in mind the deck lists I typically show in these videos are from the TCG. Ban lists and card pools are different in Master Duel. What should I expect from Horus? It is very likely that Horus will be represented in the metagame, but mostly as an engine in other decks. At the current moment, those decks will not be at the top of the meta, but I'd expect to see them in Tier 3 or High Rogue for right now. Horus as a dedicated strategy will probably steal a tournament top cut spot every now and then, but it will probably have to do so as a stun deck, not as an interactive, advantage-based mid-range deck. Overall, I'm looking forward to Horus and the flexibility and splashability it will bring. Let me know how you feel about Horus in the comments down below. Thank you for watching What You Need to Know. I'll see you on the next one. Be safe, have fun, everybody.